Hi everyone. How are we doing this lovely, well, for me, morning. Some of you might be afternoon, actually. So I'm Esther again. I'll be running this Skill Spark session. And this one is really exciting because we are talking about something brand new to the features. So it's something that hasn't been available. So everyone's learning. And it is custom forms. But before we jump into that, I wanted to talk about what this Skill Sparks is. We're still kind of figuring it out because this is our second session only. But the idea is that we're going to go through some of the features of OfferingTree and learn or showcase how you can use this for your business because there are so many good parts of the software, and we often see questions in our communities regarding the software itself. And these are also going to be saved, and you can replay them and use them and build your own site to your own needs. So this is the idea of Skill Sparks, but we're really open to feedback. If you have any questions or requests, we're open to that as well. But the idea is that we can quickly share some of these new updates and as well as existing parts of the software that we have been using and wanted to give you some tips how you can use it too. So as mentioned, we're talking about custom forms. If you had a little play around after you got your product update email, then you saw that there are two types of custom forms that you can create. This is all under your contacts and forms, which is now this tab has a new title as well. And one of them is the intake form. So this is something that usually happens, clients fill out when they're signing up to a session, let that be an appointment or a scheduled event. And we kind of had this before with the custom fields. You could add a few bits, but this is a little bit more specifically built for this. And you can also create multiple ones connected to different events or offering types, which is really cool. And then your lead generation is a little bit different. It's more connected to your email signups or getting leads into your business. Mainly, it could be an intake form or not an intake form, like an email sign up, or it could be like an inquiry or other options as well. There are some ideas that we're going to go through as well. I might have to move myself because I'm a little bit in the corner here covering up. So we have some
Perfect.
useful tips on how you could use this because the lead generation actually could be included in a page builder. So it doesn't have to be connected to an event or an appointment. It could be anywhere on your website. So we have some ideas for how you can use this as well. Okay, and then I actually have a few questions because we want to see how you're using this or how you could use this. Let me move myself back to the other corner. So, what would you use an intake form for? Any lead generation form ideas? How do you handle usually when there are new clients coming in, and how did you handle it before? And hoping that you could use the custom forms in the future. If you write those into the chat, and maybe also what kind of business you're running, if you have a studio, if you have a different kind of wellness business. And then that way, maybe we have some time at the end to give you some ideas how you can personalize this for your own business as well. That would be amazing. So I'm just going to quickly jump into our software right away. So when you are in your OfferingTree site, if you go down to your contacts and, oh, I have to move myself again. Sorry. Okay. I just clicked away. Okay, so if you are under contacts and forms, then at the top here, you'll see custom forms. This is a new tab, and you'll have the two categories here, client intake forms or lead generation forms. When you're building them, they're really similar, but again, they're going to act a little bit differently on your website. So with your client intake form, it could be a new client. And in this example, we are asking some basic questions. You can always add a display name, a description. We're asking date of birth, which is a really fun part of this that you can actually edit to your custom field. So you know that up here, you have your custom fields. that can be part of automations, and I'm going to show you an example for that as well as could be part of a segment, etc. So it's really cool that you can actually map or connect these data points or information of your client to a different part of the software as well. And then you can also pick different type of field. So it could be the date, because date of birth is usually just a date. Could be a text field, which usually is just a short text. Then text area has a little bit longer. So maybe if they have to write a little bit more. Number, date and time, multiple choice, where you can give your choices, and multiple select, where they can select multiple options from your choices as well. So we have text area for the emergency contact and phone number. Sometimes it's really useful to have a third party's person details just because of health and safety. And then we have the multiple choice, like, have you done reformer Pilates before? This example is for Pilates studios, yes or no. And then you can also choose with all of them if they are required. They might not be required for some. For example, this next one, what are your primary goals for joining? It's not a must to fill out. They can share that maybe they want to be stronger, maybe it's rehab or other reasons, but if they don't fill it out, it's not a big deal. And then at the end, you can decide if you just want to display a message for submitting, or you want to redirect them and have a different page show up after they fill this out. Then you can decide where this is shown. So you can choose your appointment types, and this is usually from your offerings. Now, because this is connected to Pilates, I chose level 1 Pilates class only. And you can also decide if you're only going to send this out once at the very first time they join this type of session, or every single time. So you can also pick this, and you can add more if you want to, and you can also edit this. So once you have created this, this will show up when they are registering to a class or when they are booking an appointment. So remember, if you used to use the custom fields and they had the date of birth, for example, I used to have that in my studio, then it would come up as they have to fill out that part of the form. It's exactly the same on that page with their details. They fill this out as well. Okay. So once you've filled or created this form, you can also check who entered data here from See Form Responses, and it will simply just open up that for you. I don't think no one has done that on this one, but the other one, yes. And then you can edit it, and you can also delete it if you want to. And if you can want to create one, you can add a brand new one as well. Now, when someone is booking in a friend, so let's say you have a guest pass and your client filled this out, but the guest didn't fill it out, it will actually show up next to their name. I'll show you this later on as well. And then if they have their email address connected to their name, you can send them a link to fill this out before they attend. It will also be part of their registration email. I believe that they would just have that, please fill out this intake form before your session. So it's really good that you can remind them, but also they are kind of reminded by the system as well. Okay, your lead generation is a little bit different, same kind of build up, but this is going to be this example. We are imagining that we're wanting to hire out our studio. So you're asking people to send in their request of when they want to use your studio or your space for themselves, and then you can review it and decide if you have that date available for them, and then you can process it or approve it, and then you can send them an invoice, etc., and set it up. But this is basically kind of like an inquiry form. And there are some fields that are kind of given and mandatory, and it's always going to be the name and the email address, just like with everything else before. And you can also decide if you want to require a phone number, if you don't want to require it, or you don't want to ask. Now, required means that they have to put in a number. Not required means that it still shows up, but they don't have to put the number in. And don't ask will basically take the phone number field away, so it won't even show up. And then just like we did with the previous one, you can add your own questions with those different kind of field types. So the build-up is really similar. And again, you can connect it or map it to an existing custom field. So in this example, I basically asked what is the date and time for the booking request, so they can choose the exact date and the time as well of the start of their booking. And then I just gave some options for length of the studio hire. So minimum 2 hours, 4 hours, which would be kind of like half a day, full day, and then multiple days. I kind of just put some price points next to it as well. So this is all that you type. So you can obviously decide your own answers here as well. And you can also add the option for other. And you can make these required and again connect to a contact field. So what you do here, if you would be adding another question, you can simply just click on this and then find your actual field that you want it to be connected to. So I don't need this, so I'm just going to delete that. But I have done that with the studio hire length. And then also I've done it with the studio hire date. So I have created these two custom fields before I created this custom form. So that might be useful knowledge as well. And again, you can add a message or you can redirect them to an existing page. So they will have that after they fill out the form. And then simply just save as before. Okay, so sometimes this happens and you have to click twice. I don't know if I maybe didn't save something or do something. Anyways, okay. So once you have created this, same here with the little actions, you can see form responses, and I actually have um, tested it out and done it a few times. So there are the responses, and you can just click on it and see what they put in. But there are other ways you can also see the responses. So one of the other ways is by going to that client's profile. So you can see in the activity, there is a forms tab. You can simply just click on it and see when they submitted their responses to that form. Then you can also scroll down here and next to forms or under forms, you see when they or which form they have filled out. So if you have multiple forms, you'll see the list of all of that they have filled out. Okay. And the other thing I wanted to show is how you can connect this to an automation. And I'm going to go with the studio option, so the higher question. I've created an internal automation. What this means to me is this is not going to be sent out to the client. This is to do something within your own business. So here in this automation, my trigger is that the studio hire date and time custom field that was mapped to the custom form is changed. So there has been something added. Because if you remember, the way I set up the custom form is that it's mapped to that custom field. So if someone enters and submits into a form, it will go into that custom field and it will trigger this automation. And then after this automation, I'm going to request it to set to requested because I created also a studio hire status in the custom fields. And this is again just internal. So I know someone has requested a time to be booked in the studio, and it's in that process of being overviewed because the other options are under review, and the third option is approved and booked. So at the moment, we just change it to requested. And then I'm going to send an internal email. So this email is only going to be sent to my admin person or to the owner of the business or whoever it may be, but not the actual client. And the way you do this is when you're editing your email, you change this because usually it would be like this, but I don't want it to be sent to the contact in the who triggered this automation, but I want to send it to the admin person. So that would be me at this moment. Okay. And then this is just a really simple example of like what the admin person would receive. The merge tag for the full name and email is actually going to be from the person submitting the form. So this is really useful because your admin person received this email, and the first two things, the detail is actually about the person who is asking for this request. So they can easily find them in the contacts as well. And then there's just a little to-do list, what they need to do. This is again just an example of an internal email, what you could send to your staff members or to yourself if this is only you. And then after that, you can wait for the condition that you change manually the custom field to under review, because you have read the email, you checked if that time and slot is available, and you can react accordingly. So if you have space on that day, you can save it and tell them that, yep, I booked it for you. Here's the contract for you to sign, or the deposit, etc. If maybe it's clashing with something else, you can request a different time or a different day. So that way you can have a little back and forth. And then there's another email that's just being sent to yourself, not to the client, just like the previous one. It's kind of like a follow-up. And then we're waiting for the condition to be changed to approved and booked instead of under review or requested. And that's how they could kind of go through. And you see that one person have already completed it because we approved their booking or their request. And the other one is still waiting for that condition for me to set that they are under review. So in this hypothetical, I haven't looked at their request yet, so that's why it's standing there. So this is a really cool way you can connect forms to your automations, and then if you have different kind of lead generators, you can then work it out or plan accordingly to that for your business. Okay, so I think I kind of showed everything I wanted to show, how you can connect everything as well. So I'm going to jump back into the chat and see any requests that maybe we can work out together. So wellness business with Pilates, rehabilitation, massage, sound therapy. Okay, so Clarissa, does that mean that you have different intake forms for different offerings, or is it all the same? Let me know if there's a different kind of process working with different things. Yes, different. So now you can see you can create multiple intake forms and you can connect them to their specific appointments that they need to fill out for. So that's pretty cool. Okay, Ayurvedic yoga therapy. I would like to get some health background before a session. Yep, this is perfect for that. I would also like to create survey type information to be able to determine individual constitution. I don't know what you mean by that exactly, but I also realized because you can build, I think that's the one thing that I wanted to still show you, is what I have done is I've created a landing page for that studio hire request. So if we open it up, you'll see that it is only just that form that we have created. So you see what it looks like. The phone number is not requested. All the other ones with the little star mean that they have to, it's required, so they have to fill that out. And then they can pick the date. So I can just quickly show you. I'm not putting my phone in. And then let's say I want to book for the 13th at 9:30. So that's December 13th. And then I want to book for maybe 4 hours. So this way I'll submit it and I get that notification that, yep, it has been submitted. They know my details, they know what I want. And then if I jump back into my automations, I believe in a couple of secs, there will be another, sometimes it takes a little bit, but there will be another request because I set it multiple times per contact. Sometimes it takes a while because I was playing with it and it's not right away, but it will be there. But if you want to check in a different way, what you could do again is go to your contacts or contact forms and then check. I might have to refresh it, but just see form responses. See it now? No. Oh, maybe this one actually. Yep. So there it is. 4 hours. I can see it, and then the automation will trigger itself. Let me see now if it did it. Not yet, but it will. I promise, because it works. I've tried it out. Okay, so yeah, so you could ask that background information, and as you are editing your page, I'll show you that as well. So this page is actually published but unlisted, so it doesn't come up on my menu points. And when you're editing it, you have now the option to add a custom form, that lead generation form, into your page. It's taking a while. While that's circling, let me just read. Solo entrepreneurs feedback for after event. Ask for interest for the next class series, knowing them better and why they want to practice. Help them choose the better class for them. Yeah, that's all information that you can ask now. So when you are editing this is actually a lead generation form. But if you want to add a different one, any kind of website builder option, you click on the plus and you're going to scroll down, and we have 5 different styles of your lead generation form. Now, anytime there's an image, it could be changed to a different image. It could be your own specific picture, and also the background, same here. And as always, you can change the style of it, you can change the colors, the text, etc. But the questions will be drawn in from that form that you created in the lead generation type, not the intake form. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else I could help you. Okay, the other thing I wanted to show, this is kind of like an idea that when we're talking about this product update that came up, is I know that a lot of people using the online store for on-demand videos and or courses, and they would like some sense of a feedback or quiz. Now you can kind of create this with the lead generation form, because the store items now are built kind of like a website. So when you're editing your store item, you can draw in that building block, just like I showed you on the landing page for the studio hire. And that way you can create maybe a quiz. It's not necessarily going to give them like 80% out of 100% or anything. There's no marking, but maybe it's more that you want feedback. So you want to have that. How did you find this session? What was your favorite part, or etc. What do you think would help you more in the future? So all of these questions, you can add them there. It could be a text, it could be a multiple choice. And then once you create that generation form, then you can add that to your store item as well as a new page or as a new section within the page, which is really handy for feedback and also having a little bit more interactive type of store feature for yourself. Okay, let me see the other questions. Intake form for private sessions, intake for post session, feedback form for workshops, lead magnet forms, follow-up forms. Yeah, so those are all possible. So for your private session, you would create an intake form. I think for the post session and the feedback form and the lead magnet, that would be your lead generation form. So those are 2 different kind of things. Again, they are built similarly, but you can't embed an intake form to a website or anywhere. So you would that is connected to your actual offering. So that's why we use the intake form for that. Okay, and then let's see, personalized waivers. Well, waivers are a little bit different, but it could be connected to that one of your waiver requisites is that they have to fill out the form as well, because that's part of the process of them being onboarded to your studio or to your business, is that they fill out that, because there might be some information, questions, etc., that you need to know to make sure that everything is covered, legally, and liability is all there. Okay, I teach movement, but also recent detailed mental health trauma history intake. Could this new custom? Yes. So any kind of information you're requesting from your clients, this could be part of it. You can make this if this is connected to, let's say you have a offering called somatic experience therapy session, I don't know what you would call it, but then you can create that intake form and connect it just to this appointment. What that means is when they are registering for that, maybe for the very first time, as I showed you, they have to fill this out. And you could also let them know maybe in the description of the offering that when you're registering, there is a form that needs to be filled out. It might take you 5 to 10 minutes, but it's the most important part of this process. So make sure that I can support you the best way possible. So, having a little description as well. I think the other thing I wanted to show you what it looks like when someone registers to a class and they don't fill out that form. So I played with that yesterday. And if you go to schedule and your roster, I think it was this session. I booked myself in, and right underneath my name, it says SDK missing new client form resend. Now it has my email address, so it can send me the form. And then once it's sent, it's kind of look at the generic automated registration email from OfferingTree, but there is a section there that says, please fill out intake form, which is really handy because it's not really hard to miss it. It's actually quite not, it's not, it's easy to fill it out. It's hard to miss it. Sorry, I got confused with the sentence. So you can really easily, it's highlighted, there's a big button and it takes them to that form right away and they can fill it out. So that's really, really handy. Okay. You'd like an interviewer answer a series of questions that would then indicate what content to present. So that I would use that with the automation part of it. So if you, let's say you teach hot yoga, I don't know what you're teaching, but let's say you teach hot yoga, chair yoga, and private yoga. So those are all three different kind of styles. And once someone fills out that intake form, and you have the option multiple choice, maybe to pick which ones are you interested in. If they're interested in both hot yoga and chair yoga, but they're not really interested in private yoga, then maybe they click those two. And what you could do is you can connect that to a custom field. That custom field again could be part of an automation. So maybe that, or that could be also connected to a segment. So you're segmenting clients based on what's in their custom field data. And that way, when you are sending your specific emails for those who are interested in hot yoga or chair yoga, you will automatically have those people put into that group because they filled out the form and the form connected the data to their custom field and the custom field connected them to their segment. So you don't have to double check, is this person interested in this marketing or material, or is this a little bit more niche to them or not really interesting for them? Okay. Is it possible to print the forms data? I believe so. I actually haven't looked into it because I personally like everything digital, but I think when you're looking at it, there's probably a workaround. Sorry, contacts.
Arvind has commented just below that, Esther,
Oh,
that
yeah.
it will be possible from next week.
Okay. But until then, if you really need to, what I thought of is you can just screenshot it and then
That's
uh,
great,
that you can
actually.
print it. But that was the other one. Okay. Just going through the comments. Um, to add that feedback form in automations after a session. I think what you could do is you basically create the lead generation form, add it to a landing page, and then that could be connected to a link that you send out in the email. So it won't show up in the email as the form, but they can then be redirected to that page that looks like the form. I know that we are getting close to that half an hour mark. There's still a few questions. Let me just stop sharing. Um, Yes, so William, yes, it is in the pre-designed one. So I don't know if you can add it as a building block itself, but I think there are 5 different design options that you can add to the page as well. Intake forms can be embedded in an offering, but lead generation can be added anywhere. Yes, so intake forms are not really embedded anywhere. They are, when clients are registering, there is this pop-up that lets them put their details in. If they have a membership or an offering or a package, then they can choose that one for payment. If they have the option to add a guest to their sessions, they do it there. Now, it's going to be after that, it's that page. It's going to be basically the edit question that you're asking from them to fill out. Um, Let me see if I can try to quickly show that as well, what it looks like. Sorry. If there are any other questions.
I think that will tie in with Mural Yoga, who said, is it possible to send it via an email, embed it inside an email?
um, well, it's again the same thing that I showed you how on the roster it shows up if they didn't fill that part out, then you can send them an email reminding them to fill it out, but it will simply just pop up as the actual question list, like the form list, rather than within the email. So it won't show in their phone or their computer in the email. There'll be a link and that will redirect them to your site, and there will be the actual information or field that they need to fill out.
I'm just going to bring Arvind on. He has something to add here. Hi, Arvind.
Hi, Sinead. Hi, Esther. I'll just jump in over there and just clarify. So, with intake forms, when you tie it to an offering and make it required, people, when they're registering for that offering, will require to fill out that intake form. And that's something that will be after the registration process. They'll be asked to fill out that registration form. If they forget to fill it, when you open up your roster, you'll see directly on the roster that they haven't filled it. You can resend it to them via email. So there'll be an action right there to send it via email. So they'll get an email to fill it out. And as part of all of the email, the confirmation email for their registration, as part of their reminders, if they have forgotten to fill out that registration form, there'll be links in there directly to fill out the form as well. So we'll send them multiple reminders. And then even if they skip doing it at that point, you can still manually send it from your roster page.
Thank
Cool.
you. Yes. Just quickly, the last question, maybe I'll answer Lisa's, that if you have a custom field for date of birth in the client's account, will I still have to type that into the intake form into the custom field? No, that's where you can map it. So if you have the already existing data field for date of birth and you're creating your new custom forms, then you can just map the two information together. So the system will understand that this already existed. So that will be the same thing.
Uh, I'm sorry, I'm going to jump in again, Esther. Um,
Am I misunderstanding it?
yeah, I'm wondering if the question was if the customer has already filled in their date of birth, whether they'll be required to fill it. The
Oh,
answer is yes, because the form is kind of separate from the custom fields. If they filled it out as a custom field earlier, they will still be required to fill it out as a form. But as Esther said, if you map the two, whatever they fill in the form will then get mapped to the custom field.
yeah. Sorry. Half of it I understood. Okay, so if you have more questions, we're really open to them. We're going to probably slowly close this and then we're going to upload it where you can watch it again on YouTube as well as on the education page if you need to, and also under your tutorials and getting started page soon. We're going to send out the email with all the information as well. There's a detailed help article for this too if you want to, learn a little bit more. And obviously, we're open for questions. If you have any questions under the video or just email us as well, that is super helpful.
That is awesome, Esther, because this is a big release and we know people are excited about it. So yeah, you can always reply to that email as well if it's not covered in the help article. But Esther, this was awesome as usual. Thank you. You are absolutely unflappable working through your software. It's so cool to see. Thanks everybody for being here, if you're here for the live or for the replay. And yeah, we'll see you at the next one, which is scheduled for December 16th. And we have a topic, right, Esther?
Yes.
Yes. So keep an eye on your emails for that. We'll see you there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Esther. Thanks, Arvin, for hopping in and answering a couple of things. And thank you, everyone.
Yes. Thank you, guys. Have a lovely rest of your day.